Snow once fell on the television screens of the 1980s, bringing with it a blizzard of animated Christmas specials now long forgotten. They flickered brightly for a single holiday season, then vanished like tinsel packed into dusty attics. But what hidden treasures, lost misfires, and bizarre experiments filled those cold December nights? Let's rediscover 15 forgotten cartoon Christmas specials from the 1980s. He-Man and She-Ra, A Christmas Special, 1985. When Filmation released He-Man and She-Ra. A Christmas Special, it was supposed to be a triumphant crossover, two titans of Saturday morning television joining forces to save Christmas. On paper, it had everything: snow-covered landscapes, Skeletor's mischief, and the uniting power of the holiday spirit. But audiences at the time didn't quite know what to make of it. Some children were enthralled, others left scratching their heads at the awkward blend of Eternia and earthly traditions. Behind the scenes, Filmation was struggling financially. The studio, known for its low-budget yet colorful animations, saw this as a last-ditch effort to ride the Christmas wave. Writers clashed over tone. Should Skeletor stay menacing or become a comic Scrooge-turned-softy? The result was a bizarre hybrid, villains cracking jokes while saving children from danger, all wrapped in messages of kindness. Critics were unkind, calling it a shameless toy commercial draped in holiday cheer. Yet, strangely, it became infamous. For kids who grew up with He-Man, the sight of Skeletor awkwardly cradling a puppy in a Santa hat burned itself into memory. Today, it stands not as a polished gem, but as a surreal artifact of 1980s excess, half sincere, half marketing gimmick. In the end, He-Man and She-Ra, A Christmas Special, is less about flawless storytelling and more about nostalgia itself, proof that even the strangest holiday experiments can leave a warm ember in the cold fireplace of memory. The Smurfs Christmas Special, 1982. Hanna-Barbera's The Smurfs Christmas Special arrived during the height of Smurfmania. At first glance, it looked like another cheerful romp: snowy forests, Smurf carols, and their eternal foe, Gargamel, lurking nearby. But what set it apart was its unusually dark undertone. Instead of simple slapstick, the plot featured a sinister stranger practicing dark magic and threatening both the Smurfs and a pair of lost children. This wasn't the light-hearted Christmas story parents expected. Hanna-Barbera reportedly debated cutting the darker material, but executives gambled on it, believing the eerie tone would give the special more weight. And it did. Critics at the time called it strangely haunting, while some parents wrote angry letters saying it frightened their kids. Behind the scenes, animators pushed for more dramatic lighting and shadow than typical Saturday morning fare. The forest scenes shimmer with icy blues while the villain's lair is cloaked in ominous reds. It was experimental for a studio better known for colorful chaos. Though the Smurfs continued to thrive on NBC, this special slowly disappeared from airwaves, deemed too unsettling for repeated holiday broadcasts. Fans who remember it today recall the stark contrast between its gentle Christmas songs and its near-Gothic tension. Ultimately, the Smurfs Christmas Special feels like a snow globe that briefly shook loose something darker than expected, proof that even in a village of eternal cheer, Christmas carried shadows. The Christmas Tree Train, 1983. The Christmas Tree Train was Rankin Bass's attempt to expand beyond their famous stop-motion classics like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But this time they opted for traditional animation, and it didn't go as planned. The special told the tale of woodland animals banding together to deliver a Christmas tree to a poor family. Sweet in concept, the execution was clunky. By the 1980s, Rankin/Bass was no longer the powerhouse it once was. Budget constraints meant stiff animation, recycled backgrounds, and oddly mismatched voice performances. Some critics accused it of being little more than filler content for syndication markets, while others lamented that it lacked the charm of earlier Rankin/Bass holiday magic. And yet, for children who saw it, there was an undeniable warmth. The animals' teamwork and the message of giving resonated, even if the animation looked dated beside slicker productions. Curiously, the special faded almost immediately after its debut. Unlike Rudolph or Frosty, it was rarely rebroadcast and never became part of the regular holiday lineup. Today, it survives only in hazy VHS transfers and nostalgic whispers from those who remember its one shining night. While not a triumph, the Christmas Tree Train is a reminder of how even flawed holiday efforts carried a sincerity that modern productions sometimes lack. Yogi Bear's All-Star Comedy Christmas Caper, 1982. When Hanna-Barbera assembled its cartoon stable for Yogi Bear's All-Star Comedy Christmas Caper, it looked like a sure hit. Yogi, Boo Boo, Huckleberry Hound, Quick Draw McGraw, and even Snagglepuss joined forces for a heartwarming Christmas in Jellystone Park. On the surface, it was a festive reunion of childhood favorites. Yet beneath the laughter, something felt off. Critics noted that by 1982, these characters were past their prime. Hanna-Barbera was desperately trying to revive the golden days of Saturday morning, but the result was a strange cocktail of recycled jokes, odd pacing, and a story that stretched itself thin. Yogi sneaking into a city department store in a Santa disguise had charm, but the writing leaned more on nostalgia than originality. Behind the scenes, Hanna-Barbera faced stiff competition from newer, flashier cartoons. This special was their attempt to remind viewers of the studio's legacy. Animators worked under a tight schedule, with some sequences literally reusing frames from earlier productions. Despite its flaws, the special had an undeniable warmth. For one night, families gathered to see their old friends again, and children laughed at Yogi's bumbling charm. But after its debut, the caper slipped away, overshadowed by trendier Christmas content. Today, it's remembered less as a masterpiece and more as a bittersweet farewell, a reminder that even fading stars wanted one last chance to shine beneath the Christmas lights. A Cosmic Christmas, 1977, re-aired through the 1980s. Though technically a late 70s release, A Cosmic Christmas became a staple in the early 1980s. Produced by Canada's Nelvana studio, it dared to blend Christmas cheer with extraterrestrial visitors. The story followed three alien travelers who arrived on Earth to witness the holiday's meaning. What they found was a mix of human kindness, greed, and wonder. Audiences were split. Some praised its daring concept and haunting animation style, while others felt bewildered by its solemn tone. Unlike the slapstick cheer of American specials, this one felt more like a meditative fairy tale. The alien designs were angular, eerie, and unforgettable, visual signatures that hinted at Nelvana's future cult projects like Rock and Rule. Behind the scenes, A Cosmic Christmas marked Nelvana's breakthrough into international recognition. Animators worked tirelessly with a fraction of the budget available to U.S. studios. Its melancholy atmosphere wasn't accidental. The creators wanted to challenge the commercialism of Christmas and focus on universal themes of peace and unity. Though rarely rebroadcast after the mid-'80s, the special left a lasting impression on those who caught it. For many, its somber beauty became a ghostly memory of childhood Decembers. In the end, A Cosmic Christmas feels less like a children's cartoon and more like a whispered legend, strange, moving, and unforgettable. Bugs, Bunny's Looney Christmas Tales, 1979, aired through the 1980s. Few franchises embodied holiday reruns like Looney Tunes, and Bugs Bunny's Looney Christmas Tales became their official offering. Unlike other specials, this one stitched together three short stories. Yosemite Sam as Ebenezer Scrooge, the Tasmanian Devil tangled up in a Christmas tree, and Bugs Bunny outsmarting a grumpy bear. At first glance, it seemed like a safe formula, but critics and fans noticed a shift. By the late 70s and early 80s, Warner Brothers was experimenting with TV animation budgets, and the shorts didn't carry the same brilliance as the golden theatrical days. Animation was flatter, timing looser, and jokes occasionally recycled. Still, for kids of the 1980s, none of that mattered. Seeing Daffy, Porky, and Bugs wrapped in Christmas gags was comfort food for the holidays. Behind the scenes, Warner's animators struggled with tiny budgets, often working long hours to make something worthy of the Looney Tunes legacy. The special enjoyed frequent rebroadcasts in the early 80s, cementing itself in VHS-era nostalgia before vanishing in later decades. Today, it lingers in memory as one of the last gasps of the original Looney Tunes spirit on network TV. In the end, Bugs Bunny's Looney Christmas Tales wasn't perfect, but it carried the echo of a tradition when laughter itself was the greatest holiday gift. The Jetsons, A Jetsons Christmas Carol, 1985. By 1985, Hanna-Barbera revived its futuristic family for a holiday experiment, A Jetsons Christmas Carol. Modeled on Dickens' timeless tale, it featured George Jetson as a modern Scrooge, learning the meaning of generosity with the help of robotic ghosts and space-age gadgets. At first, the concept thrilled fans who had missed the Jetsons since their 1960s heyday. But critics quickly noted its weaknesses. The pacing felt rushed, the animation cheaper than the original series, and the futuristic Christmas trappings oddly hollow. Behind the scenes, the studio's main goal was syndication, fresh content to package with reruns. Writers admitted later that the Christmas Carol adaptation was chosen purely because it was public domain and easy to adapt. Still, for children in the 80s, the sight of sleighs zooming across starry skies or Astro the dog barking carols was magical. It gave the Jetsons one last cultural spark before fading again into syndication archives. Though it never earned the longevity of Rudolph or Charlie Brown, the special remains a fascinating relic, an attempt to push timeless lessons into a shiny, futuristic wrapper. In its awkward way, A Jetsons Christmas Carol proves that even in the world of flying cars, the heart of Christmas is still timeless. A Garfield Christmas Special, 1987. Unlike many forgotten specials, A Garfield Christmas Special once held real acclaim. It debuted on CBS to warm reviews, praised for its bittersweet tone and Jim Davis's surprisingly heartfelt script. The story followed Garfield, John, and Odie traveling to John's family farm, where holiday humor gave way to reflection on love, family, and memory. For once, Garfield wasn't just sarcastic quips about lasagna. He showed vulnerability. The most touching moment came when Grandma Arbuckle reminisced about her late husband, quietly shedding a tear by the Christmas tree. Critics hailed it as unusually poignant for a primetime cartoon. Behind the scenes, Davis drew inspiration from his own childhood on an Indiana farm. Animators said the story resonated so deeply that even production staff grew emotional during table reads. Yet, despite its impact, CBS stopped rebroadcasting it after the early 90s, and it slowly slipped into obscurity. Today, fans still circulate VHS and DVD copies, cherishing it as one of Garfield's finest hours. More than a comedy, it captured the fragile beauty of Christmas as a time for both joy and remembrance. In the end, A Garfield Christmas Special proves that sometimes the simplest stories about family, loss, and love leave the deepest marks. Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special, 1988. Few Christmas specials better capture the sheer strangeness of the 80s than Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special. Hosted by Paul Reubens in full Pee Wee Herman mode, it was a kaleidoscope of celebrity cameos, surreal sets, and unpredictable humor. Frankie Avalon, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Oprah Winfrey, Grace Jones, Everyone seemed to stop by Pee-wee's house to spread holiday cheer. Audiences at the time didn't know what to think. Was it parody? Was it sincere? Behind the scenes, CBS executives reportedly worried about whether families would embrace such campy chaos. But Rubens insisted on pushing boundaries, blending satire with genuine holiday spirit. The special dazzled with absurd moments. Grace Jones arriving in a gift box, Pee-wee ice skating in his trademark suit, and the magic screen leading sing-alongs. Critics were divided. Some hailed it as postmodern brilliance, others dismissed it as noisy nonsense. Over time, though, it became a cult classic. Its outrageous style perfectly mirrored the decade's excess while still delivering an undercurrent of sincerity. Beneath the glitter and gags was a reminder that Christmas, above all, was about joy and inclusion. Today, Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special stands as one of the most unforgettable oddities of holiday television. Equal parts satire, spectacle, and strangely heartfelt fun. A Claymation Christmas Celebration, 1987. In the late 80s, stop-motion animator Will Vinton brought something entirely different to holiday. Television. A Claymation Christmas Celebration aired on CBS and dazzled viewers with its artistry. Hosted by clay dinosaurs, the special presented a medley of Christmas carols reimagined through surreal and often comedic vignettes, dancing bells, singing camels, and jazzed-up choir numbers. Unlike many specials of the era, this one earned critical acclaim and even won an Emmy. But despite its brilliance, it faded quickly from the mainstream. Why? Claymation, though visually stunning, was expensive and time-consuming, making reruns less lucrative compared to cheaply animated cartoons. Behind the scenes, Vinton's team worked tirelessly for months, animating frame by frame in a painstaking process. The result was unlike anything else on television, both whimsical and slightly eerie, capturing Christmas magic in a wholly original way. While it disappeared from annual broadcast rotations, its influence echoed. Vinton would go on to create the California Raisins, another 80s cultural oddity, and his work paved the way for later stop-motion legends like The Nightmare Before Christmas. Today, a Claymation Christmas celebration feels like a lost masterpiece, proof that even the quirkiest experiments can achieve timeless beauty. Pac-Man Christmas comes to Pac-Land, 1982. Fresh off his arcade dominance, Pac-Man made the leap from joystick to television screen in the early 80s. Christmas Comes to Pac-Land was Hanna-Barbera's attempt to cash in on Pac-Man's fame, blending the maze-chomping hero with holiday cheer. Santa Claus crash lands in Pac-Land, and it's up to Pac-Man and his family to save Christmas. At first, kids were thrilled simply to see Pac-Man outside the arcade. But critics weren't impressed. The animation was basic, the plot paper-thin, and the attempt to humanize Pac-Man by giving him a family felt awkward. Behind the scenes, Hanna-Barbera executives openly admitted it was a marketing move to keep the character relevant as arcade trends shifted. Yet for children glued to their TVs, it worked. The ghosts chasing Santa's sleigh, the candy cane landscapes, and Pac-Man's earnest determination all carried a goofy holiday charm. Still, the special quickly disappeared from holiday lineups once Pac-Man fever cooled. Today, it's remembered mostly by VHS collectors and nostalgic gamers. Ultimately, Christmas Comes to Pac-Land wasn't a classic, but it captured a fleeting moment in pop culture history when even video game mascots joined the rush to save Christmas. The Berenstain Bears Christmas Tree, 1979, rebroadcast through the 1980s. Though first airing in 1979, the Berenstain Bears Christmas Tree became a holiday staple on early 80s TV. Based on the beloved children's books, the special followed Papa Bear's misadventures as he searched for the perfect Christmas tree. Naturally, chaos ensued, tangled branches, snowy mishaps, and wildlife intrusions. At the time, the special earned modest praise, but it never achieved the legendary status of Rudolph or Charlie Brown. Critics argued it was too simple, lacking the deeper themes that carried other Christmas classics. Behind the scenes, however, authors Stan and Jan Berenstain pushed for authenticity, wanting to keep the special true to their family-centered stories. The animation, produced by Perpetual Motion Pictures, was charming but clearly limited by budget. Still, the warm voice acting and wholesome humor resonated with young audiences. It quietly aired for several years before fading from network schedules. For those who remember it, the Berenstain Bears Christmas tree remains a gentle, comforting memory, a reminder that sometimes the smallest stories of family tradition carry the biggest glow. The Cabbage Patch Kids. First Christmas, 1984. At the height of the Cabbage Patch craze, Coleco and ABC knew they had to deliver a holiday special. The Cabbage Patch Kids' First Christmas debuted in 1984, riding the wave of doll mania that had parents fighting in toy aisles. The plot followed a lonely orphan girl who stumbles upon the magical Cabbage Patch world, where the dolls help her find a family for Christmas. While kids adored it, critics saw through the glossy veneer. Many dismissed it as a glorified toy commercial, designed to keep shelves empty during December. Behind the scenes, animators rushed production under heavy corporate pressure, with executives demanding that every doll design featured on screen match the ones being sold in stores. Yet, despite the cynicism, it struck an emotional chord with children. The idea of toys coming to life and offering friendship mirrored the holiday fantasies kids cherished. Over time, though, the special vanished, overshadowed by the decline of the Cabbage Patch craze. Today, it exists mainly in the hazy glow of VHS tapes and childhood nostalgia. In its own way, the Cabbage Patch Kids' First Christmas is a time capsule, proof of how the 1980s blurred the line between holiday magic and consumer frenzy. The Bear Who Slept Through Christmas, 1981. Closing our list is one of the most unusual, The Bear Who Slept Through Christmas. Unlike most bears, Teddy Bear doesn't want to hibernate. He wants to experience Christmas. Voiced by Tom Smothers with Barbara Feldon and Artie Johnson lending star power, the special promised whimsy. At its debut, it was warmly received by children but failed to gain traction with adults. Critics called it overly saccharine, with animation that felt stiff compared to Disney's dominance. Behind the scenes, though, it represented a genuine attempt to create an original Christmas story, not tied to toys or existing franchises. Its legacy is bittersweet. While it aired on NBC for a few years, it never became an annual tradition. By the late 80s, it was gone, remembered only by those who stumbled across it once during a snowy December night. And yet its message still resonates. The magic of Christmas lies not in presents, but in the courage to chase wonder, even when the world is asleep. The 1980s gave us Christmas specials as strange, flawed, and heartfelt as the decade itself. Some were toy tie-ins, others heartfelt experiments, all now buried in memory. Which ones do you recall from your childhood? Share in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more forgotten treasures.